Want to get these episodes early? Head over to anchor.fm/Campfire Ashes or wherever you find your podcast to be able to check this out early before it hits YouTube.
So what'd you think?
What the hell? Oh my god.
Right?
Oh man, when we get a visual media and you can see the just like horror on my face when you were describing it. Oh my god. What? Okay, so what are we dealing with?
So this is our lovely friend, the knot deer.
Okay, so I've
It,
heard some things about knot deers. I didn't know they had human hands.
yeah, so there's some discourse over whether or not knot deer are actual cryptids or if they could just be explained away or, if they're even real. And there's also discourse over whether or not they're their own thing or if they are a type of Wendigo or flesh pedestrian, because I don't want to say the other word.
Okay.
But so they are derived from Appalachian lore.
As many things are.
Yes, correct. In like North Carolina, Virginia-ish area. So, it's widely debated if this is even a real thing, if it is a type of cryptid all its own, if it's a type of, other
It's like mistaken for something
cryptid.
else or whatever.
Yeah. And I couldn't really find a lot about it. It showed up on a Reddit thread in like 2020. So it's relatively like new-ish unless
So like
if you're from there.
I've seen pictures because apparently like if you look at like maps that I've seen of like like deer and not deer and stuff like that, like there's whole bunches
Yeah.
of things. Like apparently this is in New Jersey also.
Yeah.
Like you can
I've
find
heard
these in New Jersey, you can find these in all up and down the Appalachian trails, all that stuff. But yeah.
Do you want to? The real question.
Yeah, no, I don't because
No.
I've seen pictures of them and no, not even a little.
Yeah, no. But so with them not having a lot of like information about this out there, and it's being like new to the internet, I don't know how long it's been discussed in talks from people that live in Appalachia. I gathered most of this information from our Appalachia on Reddit, but there was also appalachianoddity.org/the rise of the knot deer. So those are my sources.
The knot deer.
Rise of the knot deer. So those are my sources. But from there, I learned that they're usually depicted as deer on two legs or deer, but like something's off about it. Like their eyes are usually like facing forward, like they're predatory.
Uh-huh.
Some people say they have like moose proportions, like they're just huge. And sometimes they're depicted with human hands. Usually when they're on their hind legs. They mimic deer. Obviously, that's where they get their name.
Oh my god, I'm looking. I just googled. Oh no, the ones with the predatory eyes.
They're fucking scary, dude.
So for anybody who doesn't know what you mean by predatory eyes, prey or things that are typically lower on the predator list tend to have eyes set on either side of their head, so that way they have greater ability to look around them and everything like that. Predatory eyes
like
are
normal deer.
Yeah. Like think of a deer, think of like ducks and rabbits and all that kind of stuff. How the eyes are a little bit more set back on the head, whereas predatory animals have their eyes closer together to give you better depth perception to be able to gauge how far their prey is. So like I saw like there's a picture specifically we should make an Instagram. There's this picture specifically of like a deer where the eyes are where like a predator's eyes were, and it's just no.
Yeah, terrifying. And then there are some accounts like that they look like a deer, but their eyes are just creepy and soulless, but they glow green, like a slimy, like almost radioactive green. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's pleasant. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, no.
Uh,
I
yeah.
could go my whole life without looking at that picture again.
It's also been said that they can charge at you of speeds up to 30 miles per hour. So,
Hmm.
love that for me. And also they sometimes have more or less joints than they should have. Like they saw a picture of a deer at one angle and kind of had to guess the rest.
Mm.
So they look just like weird and not shaped correctly.
Yeah. So, like almost fairies. Like you know how like the Fey legends, how like they're not symmetrical.
Yeah, like that. But I don't want to get into face stuff just yet. I gotta
I
get
know, but
some protection from
I'm
that.
giving people like a visual of
Yeah.
like what you think of, because when people think fairy, they think Tinkerbell, and
Yeah.
that's not, and it's
No.
not even
No,
close.
no, 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 not at all.
But yeah, things they tend to be asymmetrical. Something's
And
off.
just off. Like they almost got it right,
Hmm.
but not. Hence the not
The
deer.
not deer. Yeah.
Um,
I'm
you
not a
know,
fan. I'm
no
not a fan of some of these like depiction like the
images. Yeah, no, you should just not look at them.
oh no, I can't stop looking at them.
Yeah, I couldn't look at them for too long because I live in the woods, and frequently have deer just like roaming around my yard.
Do you?
Yeah, so I just don't
Do
need.
you?
Oh, I do. So
Do
far, nothing's been out of the ordinary, but I'm not inviting them to come here by talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh,
as of now,
these are
they are deer.
so creepy.
But so the reason that it's debated whether or not this is even a thing is because of a little thing called CWD, or chronic wasting disease, which is kind of like mad cow disease in the sense that it like deteriorates a deer's brain, so it
Uh-huh.
can make them act like erratic and like almost like they have like rabies or something, like they're freaking out and then they die,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a it's like a brain parasite type deal thing.
Okay.
So it's like it could be like a Wendigo thing. It could be uh an actual, cryptid itself, or it could be a regular deer that basically turns into a zombie. So either way, it's real. It's definitely a real thing, and I don't want any part of it.
No, this stuff is just I'm not a fan.
No.
I see what you're talking about as far as the stuff that there's like a wart disease, it looks like, and it just does
Yeah.
not.
No, it doesn't
Yeah,
look
no.
pleasant. I feel
I
really
don't
bad
want
for
to.
deer.
I need to really stop looking at these, because
Yeah, no, you
otherwise,
really should. It's just bad. You're gonna go down a hole and you're not gonna sleep, and you don't need that.
no, these are so creepy.
But so the inspiration for why this story came about for this week is because I was driving and there was a person driving erratically in front of me that hit something that rolled back into my car and took off part of my bumper.
Oh no, are you okay?
I'm fine. Car's fine. Drive's fine. I'm getting it inspected this month upcoming anyway because it needed to be, so I'm gonna have them like double check and make sure.
Okay.
But whatever the fuck this thing was huge. Like, it might have been like a fat ass raccoon. I don't know. But with the damage that it did to my car, because I was not driving fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm telling you, this thing, if it kicked up into my windshield, like, I would have been dead. Like, it would have crashed through my fucking car. It would have been crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
I've definitely seen stuff like that. Yeah, when you hit something, it's got two options. It's either under or over, and if it's over, depending
right.
on the size, it can kill you.
Well, right. And like I really don't know what this was, but I mean, I was doing like maybe 25 miles an hour to like slow my distance, like slow down and like create distance from them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how fast they were going. It didn't seem that fast, but I don't know how fast they were going.
Mm-hmm.
But they ran it over, and they're like my car is a sedan, and they were in an SUV.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really got lucky that it hit where it did, because I also didn't want to like swerve because that could have been worse. But yeah, like it probably was just a raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing was like a fat ass fucking raccoon. Like this is like king of the raccoons if it was a raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had to be like fucking 40 pounds at least. Like it was huge. And so,
At
I
least we think it was a raccoon.
well, so here's the thing. So it wasn't that far from my house where this happened, but like it was the main stretch of road,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't have streetlights, which is like weird. But anyway, so I it's like 10 minutes from my house. So I get back to my house and I tell Tom what happens. And he comes out to the car to like look at it because I hadn't looked at it yet. But I was still able to drive it home. I had no like sensors on or anything. My tire wasn't flat, like whatever. Like I didn't stop when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept going because I'm like, okay. I don't know what that was, but the car's still moving, and I don't want to be here alone at night with no streetlights and whatever that was.
Yeah.
So, uh, we look at it, and like my my light is fine. It hit under the light, but like
Mm-hmm.
my fog light cover and that entire part of my bumper is just like fucking gone. Straight up gone. Like I have a picture of it that I could send to you. Not maybe it's still on my phone. It is. Hold on, I'll send it to you. But like it just
So
I
it
don't even
it
know,
probably could have
dude.
been a raccoon because I've seen raccoons hit a car and just pinball off and then run away. Like,
Okay. Well, that's pretty fucking wild. So anyway, the point that I was trying to get at is that when that happened, Tom is like, "Oh my God, like what the fuck did you hit?" And I was like, "I don't know." And we were like talking about what it could have been, and then I was like, "Maybe I just hit a cryptid." Like maybe the Jersey Devil was on vacation
mm,
and just happened to, cross my path in a very unfortunate way.
I mean, he is small and unassuming.
Correct. So then I was like, huh, that'd make a really interesting story.
Yeah.
But since I didn't know what it was, I went with the not deer. But so I went back the next day to where, like during the daylight, to where I was when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even find the piece of my car. Like it looks like it came clean off. Like I would have found at
Well,
least
that
a decent portion of my headlight cover.
yeah, that could also just be PennDOT doing their job too.
I don't know, because it like first of all they never do their job, and second of all, say this happened around like midnight. I went back like at daybreak,
Mm.
so like not a lot of time, like a decent amount of time, but not a lot of time. Like I don't feel like, and it was the weekend, so I'm
Mm.
like I don't know that PennDOT was there
Or it
doing
could
their
have just
job.
been somebody randomly picking it up. Like if it was a big enough piece,
Fair,
that might have been it. So like that could have been it.
fair, but
Or
it just I
or
don't know.
maybe what hit you decided it wanted to take a souvenir and back to
Fair.
wherever those
It came
creepy
from.
things live from.
There was no body. There was no blood. I found nothing.
It was a not deer.
I seriously, like, it just, I
And
can't
now
explain it.
and now it knows where you live.
I hope not. But
Well, that's creeped you the
well,
hell out now.
dude, like, I am surrounded by deer. Like I said, like I'm in the woods. I'm surrounded by deer.
That you know of.
that at the current moment in time all look like deer and have not been freaky weird.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just get a little eerie around my house at sundown.
I can imagine. That sounds creepy as hell.
Yeah. Like, I miss having the dog all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm kind of glad that most of the time we don't have the dog, so I don't have to let her out at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a black lab, so I can't even see her when I let her out. It's like I have to go out there and shine the flashlight so that I don't lose her in case she like sees something and tries to run off.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have a fence, so it's God, yeah, it's just now that that's the stuff of nightmares. That's the don't look at the trees situation.
Yeah, no. I'm not a fan of that at all.
Me either, and I live here. I'm a fan of it during the day. It's really pretty during the day.
Not at night.
Not at night.
This is probably the worst time for us to make up a ghost story podcast while you now live in the middle of nowhere.
It might be the best time because I feel like now I have like source material of my own.
You be sitting on the porch, and every time you hear anything, you're like, "What was that?"
Well, thankfully my porch is screened in, so I'm still somewhat safe.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it has opposable thumbs, then I'm kind of fucked. But
Or if it just charges with the screen.
yeah,
The screens are not bulletproof. I don't
well,
know if
I
you
know
know
that's
this.
well. See, we're working. We just got the house. We're working
Mm-hmm.
on some remodels. Plan on
So
replacing the screens with like actual doors.
with bulletproof glass, got it.
Heard. Just moving my house underground into a bunker.
That'll do it.
But, for a creepy like atmosphere, being out in the woods at night, like where I live, I don't have a creepy basement.
Well, that's a plus.
Like you would think it would be creepy.
Yeah, I've had some friends with the unfinished finished basements that definitely look like the Blair Witch's like basement, and I'm not a fan at
Yeah,
all.
so now see, that is what you would think mine would look like, being that it has like the cinder block walls and it's unfinished and all that. But it's like completely open,
Mm-hmm.
and when we moved in, we redid the lights down there so that they would all connect to the switch, so you didn't have to go down and pull them like it used to be, because that was creepy.
Yeah, no, I'm not a
And
fan of that.
they're all like LEDs now, so it's really bright down there. So my basement's
Okay,
actually pretty nice.
all right, that's not bad.
Not when I hear noises at night and I'm like, oh, that's definitely coming from the basement. But that's a different story.
Yeah, that's a story for next time.